The diner had always been a place of warmth, the kind of spot where sunlight poured through. Spotless windows and the smell of coffee and pancakes felt like a quiet promise that the world still held some good in it. But that morning, the peace shattered like glass. For Claire, everything changed in a single moment, a moment that began with laughter. Cruel, sharp laughter that sliced straight through her heart. 3 men stood in front of her, their jeers echoing through the bright, open diner. Their shadows stretched across her plate of half-eaten breakfast. The one in front, broad, unshaven, eyes dark with arrogance, reached forward and gripped the front of her blouse with both hands. The sudden rip of fabric was louder than the soft hum of the jukebox. Claire froze. Her breath caught in her throat as she tried to clutch the torn pieces together, trembling. She wasn't a stranger to fear, but this was humiliation painted across daylight, the kind of moment that makes every heartbeat feel like a bruise. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in standing up for what's right, even when no one else does, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because sometimes the smallest act of courage can change everything. The bullies laughed louder when they saw tears welling in her eyes. One, wearing a black leather jacket, leaned close, his grin wide and cruel. Another slapped the table, sending her teacup rolling to the floor, amber liquid spilling across the polished tiles. The air thickened, heavy with mockery and the sour scent of spilled tea. No one in the diner moved. A few customers looked away, guilt pressing on their shoulders, but fear weighed heavier. Claire sat small and silent, clutching her torn shirt, praying for it all to end. She wasn't just some girl in a diner. She was someone's sister. Her brother Mason had always told her to be strong, to never let the world break her. But Mason wasn't here. He was supposed to be hundreds of miles away, riding with his club, the Hells Angels. She never imagined that his name, once just a symbol of protection, would one day be the line between despair and redemption. Then something shifted. The soft chime of the diner door broke through the tension, followed by the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps. Claire didn't look up right away, but everyone else did. Conversations froze. Forks hovered midair. Sunlight poured in through the open doorway, framing 2 figures in leather vests marked with the unmistakable wings of the Hells Angels. The man in front, his beard streaked with gray, his eyes sharp and steady, carried a quiet gravity. Beside him walked a large bald man with a long, dark beard, both bearing the same black patches, the same air of calm, dangerous power. They weren't rushing. They weren't shouting. They were simply walking, purposefully, silently, their eyes locked on the scene ahead. 3 bullies. One trembling woman with a torn shirt, and then, time seemed to stop. The lead biker's gaze met Claire's. His face softened. Disbelief flickered. Then fire. Mason. He had never been a man of many words, but his silence had always carried the weight of thunder. Years of protecting his sister from a world that preyed on kindness had taught him how to recognize pain instantly. Fate, it seemed, had perfect timing. The bullies felt the change before they even turned. The laughter died. The one holding Claire's blouse stepped back, his hands trembling. They saw the patches. They knew what they meant. Mason, one of them whispered, the name trembling out of his throat. It was too late. Mason's boots echoed softly on the tiled floor as he walked closer. Slow, deliberate. The bald biker stayed behind him, arms folded, expression unreadable. Mason didn't need to speak. His eyes said everything. The bullies stumbled over excuses, something about a misunderstanding. But the truth was already written across their faces. When Mason stopped in front of them, he didn't touch anyone. He just stood there, tall, steady, his presence alone enough to make the room hold its breath. The man who'd torn Claire's blouse lowered his head, shame flooding his face like a rising tide. Silence filled the diner. The kind of silence that grows when justice finally takes its first breath. Mason turned to his sister. His voice, low and steady, broke through the stillness. "Come on, Claire, let's go." She hesitated, still shaking, her eyes meeting his. And in that moment, something inside her gave way, not from pain, but from relief. She'd always believed strength meant standing alone. But now she understood. Sometimes love is strength. Mason took off his leather jacket and draped it over her shoulders, shielding her from every stare, every whisper. He didn't have to fight. He didn't have to raise his voice. His presence alone was enough, a reminder that even the toughest hearts can hold kindness. 2. When they stepped outside, the wind was crisp and clean, carrying the scent of mountains and freedom. The world looked different, brighter. Somehow, inside, the bullies sat frozen, their laughter buried under the weight of what they'd done. Claire turned back once. Her eyes still glistened, but this time there was strength behind them. The kind of strength born from surviving pain and finding love that protects. They walked toward Mason's motorcycle, its chrome gleaming under the sun. For the first time in years, Claire felt safe, not because of who her brother was, but because of what he stood for. He wasn't just a biker. He was her family, her guardian. Proof that even in a world filled with cruelty, there are still people who stand up for what's right. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. We believe in love, loyalty, and second chances because sometimes kindness rides in when the world least expects it. Before the story ends, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you saw this happen? Would you step forward or stay silent? As Mason handed his helmet to his sister and started the bike, the sun caught her eyes, making them glow with quiet fire. The engine roared to life, not in anger, but in triumph. And as they rode down the mountain road, the world seemed to whisper an old truth. You don't have to be feared to be strong. You just have to care enough to stand up when no one else will.